the sun shines bright and the seeds are sown. Portugal, it's the place to be. Join the community, come and see. Expats Portugal.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Expats Portugal webinar for the 11th of September 2025. Shipping your stuff to Portugal, avoid these costly mistakes. And our expert this evening is Gisela La Cruz, who's joining us tonight. Every year, thousands dream of a fresh start in Portugal, only to get blindsided by hidden moving costs, confusing customs rules, and unreliable movers. Don't let your adventure become a nightmare of lost baggage, broken appliances, or endless paperwork. Gisela is here to help us with that. Here's the reality of what you're doing. One missing customs document can leave your belongings stranded for months or worse, lost forever. So we want to avoid that, and we'll find out how to do so. Plug the wrong appliance into a Portuguese socket and you might be shopping for a new one. Choose the wrong removalist and your most precious items could vanish without trace. So it's good to be in the hands of Global International Relocation Mobility Solutions tonight, with their expert who's with us tonight, Gisela La Cruz. Tonight we'll be looking at baggage certificates, the all-important baggage certificate, and customs, like a seasoned pro alongside Gisela here. Which of your appliances will and won't work in Portugal, and what's better left behind? How to spot and avoid removalist scams before they cost you big. People offering to move your things with big promises, and if it's too good to be true, perhaps it is. The real timelines and costs, no more nasty surprises. How GIR's award-winning team ensures you move that your move is stress-free from start to finish, and why GIR, Global International Relocation, are Expats Portugal's trusted removals partner and our mobility solution for moving people to Portugal. Good evening to you, Gisela. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. Thanks.
Great to see you. How are you? Tudo bem?
Tudo bem, tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Alles gut.
Yes, alles gut. Guten Abend to you, joining us from Berlin this evening. So thank you very much for doing that. Should we get straight into it then? Because this baggage certificate thing does cause a lot of confusion. So let's just narrow it down and focus and ask you, what is a baggage certificate and when is it required for moving your personal belongings to Portugal? Let's start with that.
Okay. So the luggage certificate is basically, or certificado de bagagem in Portuguese, is a customs document issued by the Portuguese consulate abroad, meaning that you need to request it in the country and city or where you're living now. This document actually proves that the items that you're bringing into Portugal are your own use personal belongings, or your household goods, and no commercial imports. So basically, when you request the luggage certificate, what you need to do or to provide to the consulate is several documentation. And the most important is the packing list. So the packing list is provided by our team at the time they come to your house and they pack everything. You will get this manifest or this inventory list that will need to be sent to the consulate together with other documentation that actually will prove that you were living in the last 12 months in the United States or where you're coming from. Like the consulate will ask you for utility services, driver's license, or anything else that will prove that. And together with the packing list, they will have this document, issued in about 3 weeks. That's basically the luggage certificate. And the luggage certificate, important to know, is only issued after you have the visa, not before. Okay?
Yes, that question came in straight away. Thank you, Zita. And others who are here this evening, good evening to you in San Diego as well. One of our members joining us tonight, I'm sure. We have others in the United States tonight. So let us know where you are and how you're doing this evening. Can I apply for a certificate of baggage once I have my temporary visa, or do I have to wait until after I've had my AIMA appointment and got my residency visa? So what's the answer to that question there? You did tell us. But yes, reiterate for us if you will.
Right. So the luggage certificate is issued, as I say, after you get the visa.
Yeah.
And obviously, after you get the visa, you will get the appointment at AIMA, right?
Yeah.
And that appointment at AIMA will have to be in Portugal.
Yes.
Okay. And this is the second step that I will explain as well, the rest of the documents that you will need to request in Portugal. Should I explain now?
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. Yes, I think it's good to continue on this particular theme.
So That's why the first document is issued in the States, the luggage certificate. After you get that document, you will come to Portugal because you will have the appointment at the AIMA. And at AIMA, basically, you will get the residence, right? The residence card. When the appointment is done, you have the proof that you will be fiscal resident in Portugal. And this is a document that will allow you to go to the second step that will be obtaining the NIF with a fiscal residence, meaning that the address that appears on your NIF, which is initially the address from the United States, will be changed to Portugal. And that's when you turn out to be a fiscal resident in Portugal after the AIMA appointment.
Yes. Okay. Very good. In the instance where you don't need a visa, this would be somebody perhaps moving their things into Portugal from another part of Europe, perhaps from Schengen. What do you do in that situation? Do you still need a baggage certificate?
No, no luggage certificate. So if it's within European Union, there is no need of luggage certificate. But important to know, because many Portuguese, citizens that are living abroad and they're coming back to their country, they think that because they are Portuguese returning, they don't need a luggage certificate, but they do need.
Yes.
So foreign and Portuguese.
The essence of this is to ensure that you're not commercial, basically, isn't it? And that you're bringing your own belongings in rather than sell.
Right. And this is important to be done by the moving company for two reasons. Because once the custom procedures, take place and it's emerge an inspection, so they will inspect your goods maybe, and they will want to check against the list what they're having in the boxes. So when the packers do the packing and they list everything in the packing list, we are ensuring that it's under compliance, what we are declaring. So I think it's the best, because some people wants to do it on their own. I recommend waiting for the packers to do it.
Yes, yeah, who know what they're doing, who've done it many times before. Okay, just a further clarification on this matter, and then we'll move on from baggage certificates to electrical appliances. A clarification required for Zita, and Laurie would appreciate this as well. So are you saying, for example, Zita can't get the baggage certificate until after already living in Portugal and having got the NIF number and thereby being a fiscal resident? Yeah, okay.
In that case, we have another option. If you don't get the luggage certificate and anything, and you want to bring your household goods, there is the option of declaring your goods.
Right.
So declaring your goods is paying taxes and duties, and this is calculated based on the CIF, which is the cost of the freight, and the insurance of the declaration of the value.
Okay. All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Denise also asking, if you're a citizen living outside of the EU, do you still need the luggage certificate? You will have a NIF. I think we've dealt with that, haven't we? Yes. Okay, Zita, what we can do, and this is the great thing about being an Expats Portugal premium member, we will hang out after the main recording with Gisela, and we will get absolute clarification on anything you need to know. That's you and all the other members here. So a good reason to become a premium member. We'll go through your individual circumstances and make sure you've got the answer you require. Let's move on for the time being to electrical appliances. This is something that is quite confusing for people, and it's different, of course, if it's from the United States or the UK, because we have different voltages. And maybe we'll roll this up with household items that you would and would not recommend bringing into Portugal, and buying them new here. So what do you say on that, on the voltage differences, and what's good to bring and what's good not to bring?
Right, that's a good question, because many of my clients also ask about bringing, some appliances. I would say dual voltage electronics, marked as 100 to 240 voltage, like laptops, phone, tablet, chargers, cameras, gaming consoles. I will say yes, it's okay. Some small devices like shavers, hair straighteners, or travel appliances is okay, because they will say dual voltage. But if you want to bring like TV, microwaves, blenders, there is a chance that you can use them with a transformer, but I don't recommend bringing them. I rather say buy it in Portugal. So this is because, single voltage as 110 appliances from North America will maybe, run on a heavy duty transformer, and then it will often, be damaged. So I recommend that. Appliances from the UK, actually, they're already 230 voltage. So mostly they will work here, but you still need to plug adapter,
Yes.
the changing from G to the CF.
Yes, or change the plug, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Things with motors coming from the United States are a bit of a no-no, aren't they? Okay, thank you. And of course, yes, we'll come back to specifics if you want to ask questions about specific appliances items after the main recording. Feel free to do so. Okay, how far in advance? Let's look at timelines here. How far in advance should someone begin planning their international move to Portugal? Basically, when should they get in touch with you? And yes, talk about timescale, if you will.
Yeah. I would say a year, okay?
Right.
Because I like to work with time and to explain in detail what documentation is needed. But 6 months will also be okay. Because as you know, backlogs in AIMA is usually take 60 to 90 days, and as well as the submission of the visa. So for these two processes, you need at least 6 months.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about starting with the visa and then, waiting for the AIMA appointment, once we know the appointment at AIMA will be at certain date, we can start working on the day of the shipment and on the paperwork.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So a year is your recommendation, and choosing a company to move you. Maybe we could narrow it down. What would you say the top 3 things you should look out for when picking your moving company?
Well, if you're picking a moving company, for me, the most important is accreditation and experience.
Right.
Okay. Like nowadays you have a lot of access to internet, and looking what kind of membership had that company is important. Like if it's FIDI member, if it's EAM or overseas Omni, is very important because it's an accreditation that will, be safe for you. Experience for me is basically the subject that will provide you the most effective support, because having a experienced team that will help you through customs will also give you peace of mind.
Yes.
And service support. So having a door-to-door service for me is the best you can do, instead of having a service packing on your own, which will cause confusion and will probably get into inspections and delays. So a door-to-door service is very recommended, highly recommended by me. Custom brokerage and guidance with documentation, as I say, having our own broker in the port of entry, in this case in Portugal, it's a great advantage. And reputation and cost transparency. I think the cost transparency is important because many people, when they read the proposal, they don't know what is coming next. And there is also no hidden, but maybe some companies cannot explain, openly. And I like to explain and to say there will be DTHC, which is destination port charges, or they could be port storage or demurrage. So all this transparency and explaining how much will an inspection will cost is important for the customer to know. If this happens, I should count on 800 euros plus. I think that's for me important.
All right. I was only looking for 3 top factors. I think you gave me 5 or 6 there, and I actually going to add to that. The expertise, extend your expertise point to expertise in Portugal, because if a company's not used to bringing things to this country, that could cause problems as well, right? You're a country that originates in Portugal, so you really know the lie of the land when it comes to dealing with the Portuguese customs and government, right?
Right. I think that's important.
Yes.
Portugal has specific expertise in custom procedures, and this is what basically many movers lack, and this is important. To be efficient at the time of the clearance and to do it on time will avoid many issues.
Well, you're headquartered inside Portugal, of course. The company originates in the country, and you're dealing with the Portuguese system all day, every day. So that should help.
And also because we don't hire third parties, right? So we have our own broker, and that speed up the process. So we don't have to wait for the broker to take care of others, but we have our own broker that will assist throughout the process and immediately.
Okay. You gave me some accreditation abbreviations. Are they obviously well known to you in the industry? But would you mind writing those in the chat for us, or making it possible for us to know exactly what they are? FIDI, was that one of them?
FIDI, yeah.
Okay.
FIDI, IAM, International Association of Movers, and
Okay.
Omni, Overseas Association of Movers.
Okay.
Right.
All
Those
right.
are the most well-known memberships. I would say Omni is the biggest one and the most safe, accreditation, and it's say like that because if you belong to Omni, that means that they chose you as a company reliable to be part of them.
Right.
So Omni is the highest standard in terms of accreditation. Yes.
Okay, Omni, one to look out for. Thank you for that. Okay, going back briefly to customs documentation, you mentioned, I think you called it the manifest, is that right? The list to make sure things are okay on arrival. What else do we need to know about customs documentation?
Right. For custom documentation, besides the luggage certificate, the NIF updated as fiscal resident, you will need the atestado de residencia or certificate of residence.
Okay.
So for that, we need to be very careful because sometimes the Cámara or the City Hall will issue this document as stating that you have a residence in that address. But that's not enough. It has to state a date when you move, and it has to be the same address that appears on your NIF, because
Okay, that
that
would
is
help,
the one
yes.
thing that the custom, officer will look after. So the address, the date, and that it says that you moved to Portugal, right, to that address. Yeah.
Okay, and atestado is the name of that
Atestado de
particular. Yes.
residencia, right.
We can put that into the chat as well a little bit later on.
Atestado.
Okay.
So
Were you going to add
basically,
something to that? Yeah, go on. Please carry on. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to make the list again, luggage certificate, NIF updated, atestado de residencia, and yeah, that's it.
Very good.
I wanted to mention another document, which sometimes we have Europeans coming to Portugal from USA. So they need a crew, which is a European certificate.
Yes.
This is only because they don't need a visa, but they need this certificate issued by the local parish stating that he is European, and it's a certificate.
Okay, that will be your freguesia, your local freguesia, the parish level that Gisela is referring to there. Great. Okay, thank you for that. That's customs documentation. Let's talk a bit more about Global International Relocation, the company you work for, who we're dealing with here. Tell us a little bit about the track record, how long you've been doing this as a company, and of course, the insurance of goods, what sort of coverage there is for people's goods when they're in transit.
Okay, so Global International has been in the market for about 17 years, already 17 years. And we started as a moving company, but throughout, all these years, we looked after the needs of the customers. So we also extend our services, and we provide integrated services together with the moving, like storage, pet services, and nowadays, I don't know if everybody knows, but it's good to say it now that we have opened a fine arts department as well. So for a specific, pieces to transport or pieces from museums from one country to another. Amazing. So basically, it's a company that provides you a full integrated services. And you don't need to go and look for, third parties, but we can provide you the full assistance here. In terms of insurance, as we have a door-to-door services, we also are able to provide the assistance with the coverage of a total risk insurance, which is highly recommended by me. I rather saying to insure through us, because we have the insurance department as well, which will provide you the full assistance, throughout the process. Because once you have a claim, everything is good, you have the certificate, but once you submit the claim, that comes the nightmares and the troubles, because you don't know how to deal with that. And therefore, we are here for that, because dealing with an insurance company is very demanding. You need to prove many things. And it takes a while, as everybody knows. But the insurance department is basically, focused on speeding up the process, providing to the insurance company everything that is needed so that the process and the claim will be at least solved in approximately 3 months. That's our goal, because usually it could take 6 or sometimes more if they, they request more documentation. Yeah.
Okay. Ideally, we don't want to be getting into that sort of territory, but good to know that's how you manage that part of the process. Yeah. Incidentally, we did talk about bringing certain items or not bringing certain items. Are there any things that are completely prohibited or restricted? What are the absolute no-nos for people with things that they might want to bring into Portugal that they shouldn't?
Yes. Well, as custom regulations, paperwork states you cannot bring alcoholic beverage, food stuff, any specific species like endangered species like maybe ivory or any animal skin, those kind of things. Weapons, firearms, and I would say gold bars as well.
Right.
And
Okay.
it's better to bring it with you.
Right.
So when I have the chance to share with the client, it's mentioned there, but I know some of them wants to bring some food stuff. I won't say don't bring any. You can bring your cans and stuff, but if it's not huge quantity, we can manage to put it in the kitchenware stuff. There won't be any problem, but we cannot bring like a commercial, like many boxes. But if we avoid that, it's better. It's like I recommend to avoid bringing things that will call attention. And instead of that, just simple items like what usually you will bring to Portugal: clothing, sentimental items that you need, your books, and that. Yes.
Very good. Okay, and not your homemade chorizo hanging up in the container. Okay, as some Portuguese returning to Portugal might like to bring with them. Okay, very good. Let's talk costs then, if we may. And it's difficult because obviously each set of circumstances is different. But can you give us a ballpark? Let's say a 3-bedroom house, a family house, from the United States to Portugal.
Right. Yes. I would say that the cost approximately, for a 3-bedroom apartment will be, depending how big it is, but I would say between 7,000 to 9,000. Okay. Because, and also another thing that we need to consider is where is the container coming from? Because it's different, the cost of the freight, if we are bringing from the West Coast or the East Coast. So those are the little details that will change the cost. But to give you an idea of cost, and considering that we will have the full export wrapping and for the fragile items and everything, but we will also consider great easy access to your house. So I would say that cost will be covered.
Yes. If you live on a farm at the end of a track, for example.
Yeah, that's a different quote, because we need to apply the double, handling. So we need to load, bring it to my warehouse, load it again. So that increased the cost, obviously.
Okay. But that's a useful guide. There are people who want to talk to you already in our audience here this evening. Send an email to admin@expatsportugal.com. And there are further details on the Expats Portugal website as well, and the advantageous relationship as well that we have with you. People should know about by emailing admin@expatsportugal.com. Very good. Okay, you talked about the general timeline for people who are wanting to have their belongings moved, start a year out. Once they've engaged you and the belongings, the stuff has left the house, how long are we talking about before it ends up in the new house this side of the Atlantic, for example?
Okay, I will give you a time frame. So if we are talking about goods coming from the west coast of California, let's say, to Portugal, the transit time is 10 weeks, okay? But this is only transit time. Once your goods are loaded, the container is loaded, in the vessel, but you still need to count with the custom procedure. So let's count on 2 weeks, one for California, the States, and 1 week in Portugal for the custom procedures. Because our goal is to clear your goods in Portugal in 7 or 10 days maximum. So I would say, coming from long distance, it will take 12 weeks. Coming from New York, let's say New York, it will take 5 weeks. Or 5 with the clearance. Yes.
Very good. Okay, good to know. Thank you very much for that. You mentioned your new fine art department. People might want to know. I mean, they might not have a Van Gogh or that sort of thing, but they may have precious family heirloom items. How are you with those? And also, an interesting question came in whilst we've been talking about the lithium batteries of tools. These specialist storage matters. How do you approach those, Gisela? And specialty packing.
I didn't understand, Carl. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, with very precious things. I mean, most things are going to be wrapped and put into the container.
Into the container, right?
There might be a
talking about the
like
special fine arts,
yes,
or
absolutely.
delicate items. Yeah,
yes.
Right. That's what I also wanted to mention about customized packing solutions. So for fragile packing materials, we have the bubble wrap, we have the foam, corrugated boxes, anti-static packaging for electronics. But also besides that, once we put the things into the container, we put some dry poles. So these dry poles are to avoid the humidity, because we know that the goods will be transported for 4 weeks, 6 or 10. So it's important to have climate control. And if we are talking about fine arts, we have dedicated containers for fine art, which is climate control and secure transport. But this is another cost, no? But basically, our wrapping is based on full export, as I said, with care. Then it's wrapped individually when we are talking about glassware, and it will be labeled as fragile, so that the handling of those items are also, carefully placed into the container. So those details are important, to secure the safe transportation.
Okay, very good. So that's the precious things, the inanimate precious things. What about the fur babies and the cats and dogs and birds now, I think, that you help with as well. So tell us a little bit about your pet department, because you're well known for that. And it's a great area of expertise, and we've enjoyed talking to your vets before now. Tell us a little bit then, if you will, for people who aren't familiar with you, about the pet relocation service.
Right. Nowadays, we have also the birds transportation.
Yes.
And I know the transporting household goods is very delicate, but transporting animals is very delicate, more than you can imagine. So our vet, Rita, that I believe everybody knows her, she's the one taking care with the assistance, throughout the process of pet, dogs, cats, or parrots, or whatever we are transporting, making sure that they comply with the, rabies vaccination, health requirements. Also, the method of shipment that they will use, in this case, the size, of the kennel, because there are some measurements that we need to be very careful about, so that the animal will be transported with a space around. And some airlines, if we don't, take the right measurements and the kennel is tight, they won't allow the animal to fly. So it's important to have the guidelines through Rita, our vet, and to make the also the supportive part, because I know it's very delicate when you're transporting your little one and they get anxious about how it's going to run, if they're going to be okay in the stopover in Frankfurt. You need to send them pictures, you need to make sure that they are okay. And once they arrive in Portugal, also to be on time, preparing the documentation so that we won't delay the delivery of the animal.
Yes.
And in this case, the veterinary, help you, guiding you with where to request the health certificate, when to do it, before the flight. The kennel has to be approved by IATA, have to meet the IATA. Then what else? we can also assist you in case you have an animal that, is a support, how you say?
Emotional support. And emotional
Emotional
support.
support, right?
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
had a client that I made her move, and she needed the pet to be with her. So we can assist you on that through the airline. And if it doesn't comply with the weight and the measurements, unfortunately, we need to put your dog in cargo. But emotional support dogs can go with you in the cabin. Yes.
Very good.
So,
Okay, good to know. So a pet relocation service, all part of what you do, or a specialist part of what you do at Global International Relocation. Good to know. And yes, if you've got more specific questions about pets, we can take care of those in the members recording and extra session that we do, because we record the second session for members who can't be here as well. Another benefit of becoming a member. There are a lot of variables in this process, moving on from animals now. And things may get delayed, of course. How is that managed by you and your company, Gisela?
Yeah, of course. When there is an emergency support, that's why we are here for. In case of animals, the custom issues, delays, we need to be there on time to present all documentation and to get the animal clear. In case we're talking about household goods, we have to comply with the documentation, or if it's an incorrect document, we need to solve it right away. The fact of having our own broker in any of the shipments facilitates the process and also avoid delays. So this is a great advantage of having people working directly with us, because imagine that we are having a pet coming into Portugal on Saturday. We know that the clearance Saturdays work only at 12, right? But that means that you will have to wait if you don't have the documents on time. So that's why we need to be there on time, really early morning, to have everything, prepared. So by the time it's midday, we will have clear the dog like in 15 minutes.
Yes.
So avoiding these delays will be great, as well as for the household goods. The compliances of, documentation, paperwork, and having everything in advance, it's a huge help for you and for us as well, because that's our commitment.
Very good. Okay, so overseeing the process all the way through and able to deal with any delays and plot twists, I suppose, that happen sometimes with these processes that are beyond your control. Before we conclude with a final question about you and your USP, really, I'm seeing there's a couple of questions that it might be useful to address in the chat. Vehicles, of course, we haven't talked about those, but you can move and matriculate vehicles for people.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a business that we started like a few years ago, but it has been, growing a lot. We have a lot of Americans bringing their cars here. As you know, Portugal is one of the countries that have very high taxes in vehicles.
Yes.
So that's why it compensates for them to bring their cars. But we need to be very careful. Documentation and bureaucracy here in Portugal to go through legalization is very important. And it's very difficult when you don't know the laws here and the rules. So when we transport a vehicle, the most important thing is to start with time. Like I say, start 6 months in advance. I think that will work out for cars, because legalization process takes around 8 months, I would say. Okay. But if you don't have the COC or the certificate of conformity, the homologation will take longer. So what we basically do before starting the process of shipping the car, we can do that in advance and we can gain some time. And also, checking out that the list that we also provide to the customer in terms of complying with every document to prove to customs that you are bringing a car that is on your use more than 6 months, that the car will be, without any problem legalized here, and all the taxes or the UC that you need to pay according to the kind of car that you're bringing. So everything, all this information is important to know. and to have the knowledge of what you're doing, how much it will cost, because it's not only shipping your car in the container, but it's also the process of legalizing the car here and how long it's going to take and how you're going to do it with insurance. The insurance, we provide all the information. So by the time the car arrives here, you will be able to drive right away. But important is not to leave the plates behind. You need to bring the plates so you can drive them, while the plates in Portugal are issued.
Don't forget your plates. Great. Okay, that's about motoring and bringing your motor vehicles over. Thank you for your questions. Zita, we'll come back to the clarification you were looking for. And Patrick, thank you. Well, we've addressed your question. Neil, we'll come to musical instruments in a little while. Joy, thank you for that question. We'll address all of these in the second part of the recording and our conversation with Gisela. But for YouTube this evening, can you just tell us your USP? What makes you so special and unique, Gisela, as a Global International Relocation, and why we're proud to be associated with you, basically?
I think that what makes us special or expertise in the industry will be how we deal with this change, right? It's a big change on your life when we are talking about moving abroad, because it's not only moving household goods, which are sentimental things that you're bringing because you want to feel that you're in a new country, but with your things making you feel like home. But it's also starting from the beginning. So all this stress time that you will go through, we like to provide a customized service, not only like giving you a quote, but also guiding you all the way and giving you the assistance with face-to-face talk. That's what I like, and that's what I think is important, instead of having a company that will just having a recording machine and pressing the number whatever you need. But we would like to provide that support to the people to feel confident and to have the trust on giving us the household goods and her pass to us to make it through the new start of their lives.
Yes, the personal side of it. And I've heard Luis talk about this, because I've spoken to Luis a number of times from GIR, and he talks about, the emotional side of it.
Emotional.
This is your life that you're moving, isn't it? And I think as a company, you're very mindful of that aspect of it, as well as these being belongings and commodities. You're actually dealing with a big emotional change for people, which I think you do admirably.
Big emotional change.
Yes, for sure. Jerry, I think something to add before we
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Carl. I would like to add another point to everything that Gisela has said, which is that when you're shipping goods, all of the detailed requirements at the import end, not at the export end. It's relatively straightforward to do the export. Where it can get complicated is at the import end, with customs formalities and warehousing and handling and local delivery and all that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons why we like working with GIR so much is that they're a Portuguese-based company. If something goes wrong, you can call Gisela and she will have the number for the driver or the customs guy on her other phone or whatever, and we'll call them straight away. That won't work if you're sitting in Portugal waiting for your goods and wondering what's gone wrong, and you have to call America and wait for them to figure out who they're working with and the time difference and everything else. So that's another important reason why I believe it's essential to work with a company at the import end and not so much at the export end.
Very good. Thanks for that, Jerry. And we will conclude there for the time being. We'll come to our members who you'll speak to on a more personal level, Gisela. But is there anything else you want to tell everybody before I pause the recording for YouTube here?
I would like just to share with you that from our side, we are committed with you, not just a commercial agreement, but as personal agreement, because as everybody here, I'm also an expat, and I've been through this, hassling moments, and I've been abroad in many countries already. And when it comes to move and you don't have the supportive part, I think it's really bad. And that's why I feel like when I have somebody that it's getting nervous about the move and stress, I like to provide my support and
Yes.
to find solutions. So what GIR does, and I like, is we have a team that is international. So many nationalities, which they have, a very wide view of the world and the culture.
Yes.
And also because we want to ensure that the move will, run the best way we can, and be supportive in any part, and always, thinking outside of the box, giving you a tailored service. So anything you need, any issue that will get in the middle, have a solution. So, and
Very
that's
good.
why we are here for that.
We might have come up with a new strapline for GIR tonight. Thinking outside the container would be pretty appropriate, I think, wouldn't it? You're very welcome to that, Gisela, if you want to be Employee of the Month and suggest that. So, all yours. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We know you're away, and you've made a special connection with us this evening, so much appreciated. So we'll
My
pause there.
pleasure.
Please become an Expats Portugal member at expatsportugal.com, and you can find out more about GIR there and our weekly webinars. Thank you very much for the time being.
Thank you so much.
Looking for a place to call your own, where the sun shines bright and the seeds are sown. Portugal, it's the place to be.